of this was decided.
You really think you can change the future?
All of this was decided.
The truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear.
They can take your world.
He's been changed beyond recognition.
They can take your heart.
His heart replaced with another's.
Cut you loose from all you know.
This isn't what I really look like.
But if it's your fate, then every step forward will always be a step closer to home.
Good tidings, ladies and gentlemen of the lodge, and welcome back. Today's video is going to be talking about Kingdom Hearts, and more specifically, Yozora and his future in the Kingdom Hearts series. Those of you who are fans of this channel know we love to talk about things like foreshadowing and archetypes so that we could have an insight on where things may be headed in our beloved series. And as far as Yozora goes, this enigmatic, charismatic character has only had a fraction of screen time, but I do believe a foundation has been laid that we can predict where this character's story is going. So if that is enough to pique your interest, then prepare yourself accordingly, as we are about to dive deep on the future of the true king, Yozora. The first and perhaps the most obvious thing that we can forecast about Yozora and his character is going to be a romantic subplot between himself and the Nameless Star. As evidenced by the Verum Rex trailer and our visit to the final worlds where we met the Nameless Star, we see that both Yozora and the Nameless Star have been separated across worlds and are awaiting their reunion, which of course is a very familiar circumstance in the Kingdom Hearts series. However, something that is worth noting is that while we have characters like Sora and Kairi who are currently separated across worlds and realities, which, for all intents and purposes, is a level of separation that Sora and Kairi have not been confronted with until now, but what makes Yozora and the Nameless Star so interesting is that their separation is far more severe than Sora and Kairi's. Not only are Yozora and the Nameless Star separated across worlds and realities just like Sora and Kairi, but Yozora's walking around in a body that isn't his, and the Nameless Star no longer has a body, and her identity was stolen. So the degree of separation between Yozora and the Nameless Star is far more severe than the separation between Sora and Kairi. Perhaps, in a future clash between Yozora and Sora, both are able to sympathize and empathize with each other's circumstance, which will lead us into our next point. There are many things we can rely on that suggest that there will be lots of parallels between both Sora and Yozora. On one hand, we've already touched on the romantic parallel between Sora and Kairi, Yozora and the Nameless Star. Additionally, there is a narrative parallel going on with the two characters, given that they both have a king motif, with Yozora being associated with Verum Rex, and Sora more often than not being associated with a crown and throne. And when we consider, without getting into the verses 13 of it all right now, when we consider that Yozora was created to be a direct parallel of Sora, including the fact their names translate to sky and night sky, we can see that there's going to be a continual parallel between both Sora and Yozora, almost as if one were looking in a mirror. Now moving on to our next point. Fabula Nova Crystalis. Allow me to explain this as efficiently as I can. Fabula Nova Crystalis is essentially an underlying lore that ties several Final Fantasy games together. Games like Final Fantasy XIII and Final Fantasy Type 0, which have several parallels with the Kingdom Hearts series. But getting off that for a minute, one thing we can see about Yozora is it would be implied that he's going to be at least integral to introducing elements similar, if not identical, to Fabula Nova Crystalis here in Kingdom Hearts. This can be evidenced by one of the endings in the fight with Yozora, particularly the one where you lose, where he crystallizes Sora. This is directly called out of Fabula Nova Crystalis, and it remains to be seen if this is just a wink and a nod to those of us that have played those games, or if this is an indication that the Fabula Nova Crystalis mythos will be coming to Kingdom Hearts. Also, just to touch on it very briefly here, do bear in mind that Final Fantasy Versus 13, the game in which Yozora's character is inspired from, that game was supposed to be a part of the Fabula Nova Crystalis canon. Therefore, when we see Yozora wielding or having overlap with Fabula Nova Crystalis, we see that it is not only no accident, but is 100% intentional given the inspiration from where this character came from. This one is a little more uncertain than the previous two, but I feel it's worth bringing up anyway. Let me know what you guys think though. Do you think Fabula Nova Crystalis is coming to Kingdom Hearts, or do you think this was more of a wink and a nod? With that out of the way, let's move on to our last and final note. It may not be obvious upon first glance, but there are a lot of narrative connections between the Master of Masters and Yozora. On one hand, you have this brewing rivalry between Luxu and Luxord, and we know that Luxu is connected to the Master, and now we know that Luxord is connected to Yozora. Now, if that wasn't enough, also consider that both Yozora and the Master both have mysteries surrounding their identity and their bodies. Just between Luxu and Luxord's clash and the whole identity and body mystery surrounding both Yozora and the Master of Masters, we can see how the two characters' narratives have a foundation that would allow them to cross and overlap. Yozora is an enigmatic, charismatic character that I cannot wait to see unfold in the future of Kingdom Hearts. Without even getting into the meta of Final Fantasy Versus 13, we can see easily how this character has laid down a foundation that has captured all of our attention. But anyway, that's enough about what I think about the future of Yozora. I want to know what you think about the future of Yozora, dearest viewer. So please drop into the comments below, share your thoughts, let me know what you think. We're going to wrap up the video there, everybody. So thank you for hanging out. You ladies and gentlemen, be good out there. Be good to yourselves and each other. And I will see all of you beautiful sickos and normies next time.
All of this was decided.
Why not just sit back and watch it play out?
All of this was decided.
May your heart be your guiding key.